Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. This is episode number 606 and Doubleshot number 512. This will be the first of at least one, two, first of 3 episodes that's going to be about the DC Supernatural stuff. Yep. But first up, it's our showcase book, and it's Showcase Presents The Phantom Stranger, Volume 1, collecting the first 21 issues of the ongoing series. Well, the second volume of Phantom Stranger. Yeah, first 21 issues along with Showcase number 80. The thing with Showcase number 80 is that it's a reprint of, I believe, one of the stories from the original volume of Phantom Stranger, published back in the 1950s. It was a 5-issue ongoing to have 3 stories in it that was anthology, but it wasn't a bad thing. It was kind of like Phantom Stranger was doing a series of. It was kind of like a early Silver Age horror story. That's basically what it was. It didn't last too long, and they brought it back in the 70s. Now, I should point out though, the cover of this book and all the covers for all the issues in here, including the showcase issue, is all done by the awesome Neil Adams. Yeah, he does pretty much most of these covers. Yep, that's basically what he does. Yeah, he does pretty much most of these covers, along with in issue 4, he actually, I think, starting issue 5. Some of these issues are basically the covers done by Neil Adams himself, with also artwork by. Now the cover showcase has some by Neil Adams, but issue 4 does have some writing by Neil Adams, some drawing by Neil Adams. Yes, just issue 4. With writing by Mike Frederick, Franz Horton, John Broome, who is one of his creators, by the way. Let's see, Robert Kaniger, Jerry Conway. Yeah, he got a chance to write the series. Denny O'Neil, the late Jim Aparo got a hand to do some artwork in here. Tony Gonzalez, and that's basically it. Now, there are 2 noteworthy characters who make their debut in the story. Phantom Stranger does not make a debut in this showcase number 80. Phantom Stranger number 1 from the 50s. Now, in the case of... Now, those of you wondering, does this character look very familiar to you? Yes, the character is... Now, this is not covered from the series. Like with Great Disaster, they basically had Neil Adams create an original cover for this thing. It's a very good cover. Now... This character, Talia, or Tala, however you pronounce this name. You see, here's the thing. Those of you only from this character thanks to the Justice League animated series from the 2000s, where she was a regular villain on that show, mainly in Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, where first she had a fling with Gorilla Grodd, of all people, and then for pretty much the remainder of the show, she basically slept with Lex Luthor. Yeah, she just first with a monkey, and then with basically one of the richest men in the DC universe. Here, she's supposed to be an implied love interest of the Phantom Stranger because she's in love with him. Yeah, there's that one point because even though she's kind of evil, she really does love him. Because she knows doing many evil things. One story in here, the fact that he accused her of being behind it. She says, "Nope, I'm not behind it. She is." Yep, pointing to the actual person who's behind it, which is interesting. Plus, also, Showcase 80 is noteworthy for the first appearance of Dr. Terrence 13, the DC's biggest skeptic. And as far as I know, yes, he has met Santana. But the guys still think that the supernatural stuff is basically a bunch of baloney. But these are classic stories published back in, I believe, the 70s. Yep. Publishing from 1969 to 1972, so roughly over just a 3 or 4 year period. Not bad. Not bad at all for this particular thing. Now, there is one more volume for this thing, and that's it. When it comes to the Stranger series, just the second volume and the 4th volume have been put to trade. The first volume has never been collected in trade. Same thing with the 3rd volume. That was a volume done by the awesome Paul Kupperberg, and that was a 4-issue limited series. And that still is not a collected trade. I don't know what is with DC when it comes to collecting a lot of the guys' work, but the stories in here are really, really good. Very good for the late 70s because I think prior to this, I don't think DC or Marvel could do stories like this. But since the comic book recording was changed, the guidelines were updated thanks to a three-part information experiment. They with drugs that allowed him to do more supernatural stuff like this. But this is great. I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. It's really good set of stories. Next up is The Shade. Yeah, this trade collects the entire 12-issue maxi series. And yes, I do agree with Andrew Cullis in saying that his argument that this should have been an ongoing series. Yeah, I remember his video when he did review the last issue. Yeah, this should have been ongoing because this was good. Really, really good. Written by James Robinson, who actually was about halfway through the series and he started Earth 2. Now here are the artists for the series. These are a very good set of artists. You have Cully Hammer, who actually did who did the updated design for the Shade. Javier Peludo, Fraser Irving, Darwin Cook, the late Darwin Cook, Joe Thompson, and Gene Ha. Yeah, you can. The thing interesting about this series is it's the second volume of the Shade, by the way, and it's basically a follow-up to the Starman series. Pretty much, that's basically what James Robinson, despite the fact New 52 reboot happening the same year this limited series was released, the James Robinson run happened. Yeah, he kept that pretty much entirely canon, which is great. The fact he did that because it mentions that the whole thing about they don't mention Jack Knight per se. Yeah, he's not mentioned here by name. They do mention that Michael Thomas, the alien, one of the alien Star-Lord Starmans. Yeah, one of two. The other, of course, is Prince Gavin. Yeah, he's a Starman created by Steve Ditko, which I'll get to him in another trade. I do want a trade that collects his appearance by him. The story for this one is that someone's after the Shade, and he has to leave Opal City. So he basically travels on the world to find out who it is, and it turns out it's no enemy of his. Now, it was suggested it could have been the Ludwigs, but according to him, the last Ludwig died, who he spared, of pancreatic cancer. Yep. Now, those of you curious, who does this really awesome, beautiful cover? Tony Harris, the same guy who did the covers for the original, for James Robinson's Starman series. Yeah, this is really good. Very realistic, very good painted style, and it's great for people who actually would love to pick this series up. Now, I do highly recommend this series if you are fans of James Robinson, and just to try it out because of how good it is. It's just really, really good. And for series published under 52, this will be the first and only one I give this rating for a 10 out of 10. It is awesome. It's just really, really good. Oh yeah, and also his girlfriend that show up in the series. But here's kind of the weird thing about this character. After the series, no one sees this character again for at least for his experience will be for 4 years. Excuse me. It won't be until we show up pages of the Flash, where he came back and rescued his girlfriend. I think her name was Catherine O'Dare. Yeah, the thing with Catherine O'Dare is that she's a legacy. She's actually from a family of cops, and she fell in love with Richard Swift. Oh yeah, and also at one point he briefly loses his powers, and he's actually. The thing with the Shade is he's immortal. Yeah, apparently he lost his last drop of blood in 1890s because James Robinson retconned that the Shade is immortal. It's implied he's about 200 to 300 years old, and those of you who have heard of the character known as the Spider, yeah, he was a character from Roy Thomas's All-Star Squadron series, where at one point he said he was part of the All-Star Squadron and once part of Freedom Fighters. Yeah, it turns out he was a Ludwig too, so Shade killed him as well because he was planning to kill Jay Garrick. And that's how he started off. He started as a villain for Jay Garrick, and it's always awesome to see this guy because he is such an interesting character. He's got great powers, got a great look to him. The guy always dresses very fancy for a supervillain. Though in here, one thing you gotta praise for James Robertson is that he made this character an anti-hero and a badass at it too, despite the fact I kind of forgot some stuff about the guy when he did Justice League Cry for Justice, which came out in 2009, I think it was. Yeah, I think it came around the same time as Blackest Night. Yeah, not much else to say about this particular one. Awesome. Highly recommend this book if you get a chance to find it. The book itself is only $19.99. I got this book for $3.99, and it's well worth purchasing this thing. If you want to purchase it full price, go right ahead. But it's well worth to have in your graphic novel collection for DC Trades, because this is one thing New 52 was good at when it started, publishing really good limited series. Yeah, this why I think like some of the ongoing series from the early, like the first couple years of New 52 were really mixed. Got a mixed reception. There were some good ones like Batman, Nightwing, like pretty much all the Bat books per se, except for Catwoman, Red Hood, and the Outlaws. But a lot of the other books, like, I'm trying to think of a good one here. Wonder Woman got mixed reception when it came out. I know Superman, basically, he had the same thing too. A lot of the other books did, but limited series DC published that period of time. This series, along with Penguin Pride and Prejudice, the Legion Secret Origin miniseries, The Huntress. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, the string of miniseries that Jimmy Hummel and Justin Gray did, which was Phantom and Dollar Man, The Human Bomb, and The Ray. 3 really good miniseries. Yeah, every single miniseries that DC published from 2011 up until about 2013 were all really good. The ones I personally read anyways. I haven't heard anybody else's opinion. Now, the only person I heard opinion about The Shade was Andrew Cutter. He's the only one I've actually heard his opinion on it. I've never heard anybody else's opinion about this miniseries, but anybody who has had an opinion, who actually has reviewed this miniseries when it came out, and this miniseries only ended 6 years ago. The trade itself came out the same year, so there's that. But otherwise, though, I have nothing much else to say about it, but really good miniseries. Alright, so next episode will be episode number 607 and Doubleshot number 513, where it's going to be 2 books by Grant Morrison. Yep, you'll find out what they are in the next episode, okay? But until I see you all there, bye.